Good morning, everyone. So glad to have you here. And we have with us Holly Day this morning.
I miss everyone so much. It's been a while. I'm so nervous. God, make it go away. I can do it. I can do it. This is a new song I wrote. Only one other person has heard this, so besides Harry. It's called Rise and Shine. You can't sing, but you could sure stand up if you like to and sway around if it inspires you. Okay. Oh, yeah. This song is about 3 days old, so subject to change if there's a recording you hear later. So. Sometimes it seems like we're going backwards in time. Attention is all on the wrong and the need to be right. We act like we're choosing, but aren't we really losing this game? If it don't fill you with love, is it really worth playing? You know it's time to wake up, time to rise above it all and shine. We're made of the same waters that head back to the sea. The same humbling life runs through every being. Humanity just took a detour, but I know we'll find our way home. There's something bigger than you and me, so don't lose hope. Every day is a good day when you let love take hold. Open your heart, it'll take you above all you think you know. If ever there was an occasion that's worth your precious time, so get it together and wake up now. Rise above it and shine, 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 shine. This might be when you want to stand up and move. Come on, stand up, stand up, stand up. Every day is a good day when you let love take hold. Open your heart, it'll take you above all you think you know. If ever there was an occasion that's worth your precious time, so get it together and wake up now. Rise above it and shine, shine, shine. What are we gonna do? We're gonna shine. Shine! Ooh, yeah, rise and shine. Ooh, we're gonna rise and shine. Rise and shine.
That is one beautiful baby. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Holly. That was really great. All right, I'm Reverend Dr. Mary Mitchell, staff minister here, serving Reverend MillerBorn, our senior minister. Glad to be here. And also practitioners. Charlie and I are practitioners if you have any prayer needs after service. Right now, I'd like to invite any children to the stage, and as you come up, we're all going to turn and wave to the people out there in the world, wherever they are, from Minnesota to California to Spain, who knows? Good morning, everyone. Face of God, I hold you in my arms. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Face of God, I hold you in my arms. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Did you want to say something?
You all are beautiful.
Oh boy. Isn't that sweet? Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you, Judy. That was really beautiful. Did you hear what she said? Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Oh, great children, great children. I'd like to thank the members of the team that were here early. Lindy's always early, getting the sound booth all done. Glad you're here, Lindy. And Doug and Ronnie Herber, our ushers and greeters, and of course, pianist Judy. And I was here early too. All right, and Lori's in the office today, so if you have any questions of her. Right now, let's see. If you have any electronic devices here in the center, if you please turn them off, we'd appreciate that. Thank you. And if you're new with us this morning, we have a beautiful welcome packet. Anybody here new? Okay. They're on the back wall. They're the blue packet on the back wall if you'd like to pick one up. We have some announcements, but the first one, I think, is our new choir director, Morgan. Come on up.
Good morning. I'm Morgan, and I am the new music director of the Hartsonga Choir. This is my first congregation speaking to you all, so thank you for having me here, and it's been so lovely. This transition has been really superb, and we've had 2 wonderful rehearsals with an absolutely wonderful choir. And they are so enthusiastic and they work so hard, and I am so blessed and honored to be a part of this community, so thank you. One thing I will ask is that if any of you are singers, we need people, so feel free to come up to me and talk to me about joining the choir. We need sopranos mostly, so if you're a soprano, come and talk to me especially, but all are welcome. So yeah, just come and see me after the service. And thank you, Judy, for all of your hard, dedicated, loyal work. For choir members who are current, I have CDs for you, so please come up and get those at the end of the service. And yeah, with that, thank you.
Cher has something to share.
Well, I realized as I was thinking about this announcement, I could do a Sunday service on this just about the announcement. And I'm just so excited to share. It's not in your weekly program yet, but on September 26th, the International Worldwide Director of Sharing Nature is going to be here, right here in our center. So on September 26th, Greg Tramar will be doing our 10 o'clock service. And then after that, from 12 to 3, he'll be doing the Listening to Nature workshop. Now, what's so incredible about this is he's been traveling the world 12 years doing the exact workshop that he's going to do for us. When they do the retreats, I just want to let you know what a deal this is. It's $1,000 for a 3-day weekend. You guys get to come for $35 for 3 hours. So listening to nature is those times when you've had peak experiences of divinity in nature. And he's going to share the practices with you that takes your uncommon experiences with nature to extraordinary. I hope you'll join us. Thanks.
That's a definite thing not to miss, isn't it? That'll be great, super great. All right, Robin Backstrom, one of our practitioners, loves to do book clubs, and she's really great at doing this. And Monday, September 13th, it starts from 2 to 4 p.m. And the book is The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav, a really powerful book. It's been around a while, but it's really good. The men's group with Roy Wolfstead will meet Monday, September 13th, 7 to 9 p.m. And Sacred Sisters is back, yay, September 13th, Monday, 7 to 8:30 p.m. And they'll be looking over the essays of Ross Gay in his recent book, The Book of Delights. Sounds delightful, doesn't it? Sounds really good. Oh, and September 14th, I'll be doing a new class that's been created by Home Office called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Tuesday, September 14th, 1 to 3 p.m. And it's a new class, and it's really for people who have recently found this philosophy. We'll be talking about affirmations and prayer and all kinds of really juicy things. And there's a workbook, and I've just been copying them in the office this morning. So if you're signed up or want to sign up, go in and get a workbook from Lori. She's in there. We have a really super guest speaker coming September 19th, Reverend Helen Cummings. She is the prior of the temple known as Reading Zen Buddhist Priory. She's a delightful person to get to know, and we're really excited about having her come here. Also on September 19th, after the service, I'll be doing a short class, maybe 45 minutes, on the essence of religious science, the essence of what the science of mind is all about. Take about 45 minutes and have a little brochure for you. So if you're fairly new, that's a nice one to do. And it's one of the requirements for becoming a member. Now, I know a lot of you remember Twyla Cooley, quite a dynamic woman. Well, she passed a couple weeks ago, and this Friday, we're having a celebration of life, Friday at 3 p.m., right here. And it's a joint effort with Unity, because recently she was going to the Unity Church. And so as she was in the hospital in her last days, Reverend Sue and Reverend Carolyn were with her quite often, and it was a very, very sweet passing. And for such a wonderful woman, we're really happy about that. So come and celebrate Twyla Friday at 3 p.m. All right, we're going to have our reading. Craig's got it for us this morning, followed by the bell. Charlie will bring out the bell, and I'll do a prayer. And then Reverend Sue's talk this morning is Transcend and Include. Should be very powerful. Craig?
The first half of our life is doing our survival dance. The second half of life can then become our sacred dance. Money, status symbols, and security are of limited value, but to the soul, they are a distraction. And finally, they become the very problem itself. But you've got to go through this first half of life and its concerns. Every level of growth builds on our previous level. The principle is this: transcendence means including those previous stages. The principle is that you see the limited but real value of those early stages. You no longer put too much energy into just looking good, making money, feeling secure at all costs, and making sure you are right and others are wrong. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, what it means to grow up. Richard Rohr, in his book, Loving the Two Halves of Life. And from The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes writes, I know there is a power for good, which is responding to me and bringing into my experience everything that is necessary to my unfoldment. This power for good uses every part of my human experience, the joyous and the challenging, the pleasure and the pain, to guide me to a deeper awareness and knowingness of itself as me. In God, nothing is wasted. All of my life experiences are used by the power of good that enable me to help others and to bless this world. And also, there is an inner urge in our minds to grow, to expand, to break down barriers of previous limitations, and to ever widen our experiences. This persistent urge is a divine influence. It's an irresistible force, and it constitutes the greatest impulse in our human experience.
Our human experience is being God in action, as we have been created by the One I call infinite intelligence. We've been created with the greatest love one can ever imagine, with a level of mind and intuition that's always saying, grow, go beyond. The past is the past. The future is yet to unfold. And so it is in this present moment, right here this morning, as you hear Reverend Sue's words about transcending, moving beyond where we were, blessing where we were, grateful for where we were, and with Spirit's help and guidance, where are we going? We know it's beautiful. We know it's full of love. We know it's supportive. We know that there's no need to fear the future. The background of the future is love, and when we grab at it, it's there for us every time. So as we transcend even this morning, God says yes and blesses us every step of the way. Thank you, Spirit, for this knowledge, for this understanding, for knowing what it means to be God as human, forever expressing in new ways. It's so exciting. And we feel blessed to understand and move forward as each individual person can in our own unique way. And that's the truth. And so it is. Reverend Sue.
Thank you, Judy. Good morning. So last night we had the Rumi event here. So their poetry and their love and their the way the poets can translate moments of time and beauty and feelings is just that is transformative, and you do transcend. So I'm like, what am I talking about today after last night? Can we just all just be? Come on up, share, keep talking about Greg Tremar. I'm just like floaty and at peace. So today we're looking at this whole theme this month is about rising above, and transcendence is certainly an aspect of that. And so I was looking up some of the information about transcendence itself, and it's the title of the talk is Transcend and Include. And one of the contributors for the message this week, they have different ministers from the organization, give some ideas of how to stream our consciousness, so the whole group of ministers around the world are speaking on the same theme, was Michelle Senegal. And she starts just saying this: we are called to transcend our old paradigms of being and include only those elements that are life-supporting and serve the evolution of our consciousness. So that's what we're here to do, to transcend. And one of the statements from the Organization for Global Vision says, we vision a culture in which forgiveness and compassion is the norm. Compassion seems the same good for others that we accept for ourselves, and forgiveness is the significant way to practice compassion. So overall, we understand, we often reflect back on those statements about being compassionate and being forgiving in our experience, and we all have our own work to do in that. We can think that we're all cleaned up, and then you realize that suddenly we have a trigger. So in a broad stroke of awareness in this teaching, we believe that life takes place on the three planes: physical, mental, and the spiritual. And that's the basis of Science of Mind. When we speak of transcendence, we are asking ourselves to rise above our stories of the physical level of experience and our existence, and rise beyond conditions, and rise beyond the world of effects to the realm of spirit, into the absolute. And that is where the grace of good and the realization of a power that is greater than all begins to wrap its arms around us. And our consciousness, when we can transcend all that is and allow our actions and our behaviors and our reflections to lift into that space, we're set free. Sort of what the poetry did last night for a lot of us, just lifted us to another realm. So in the Science of Mind magazine from 1962, it says, an atmosphere of goodness, truth, beauty, harmony, and reality. Such an atmosphere comes in such a degree as one comes to believe, understand, and make use of the invisible presence. I'm going to pause there for a moment. I was preparing for the meditations with Yogananda this week, and I just flipped open to one of his writings about practicing the presence. And we talk about that a lot. Sometimes we talk about things so much that we blur our recognizing that how important that is, practicing the presence. That is so important. I thought, but of course. I have heard a lot this past 2 years now. It seems like 50 years of COVID, but it seems like the division has polarized us into different camps of thinking. And COVID sometimes wins, it feels like. But I thought, here it is. Let's practice the presence. Put God first. Put God first. Put God first. Put spirit first. Put the mystery, whatever name you have for that deep love, put that first. And then allow yourself to see through those eyes, those loving eyes. So the article goes on, to be spiritually minded is to be whole-minded when we practice the presence. We become whole-minded. To be whole-minded is to be holy. It means we realize that there is a complete unity of God and its creation. It means that we understand the complete unity and the close relationship of all life and individually responsive alike to everyone. This grace, this life principle is responding to each and every one of us equally. So we're commingled into the spirit like water in the ocean. And it's impossible to determine where one drop begins and another one ends, because there's no separation. There really isn't. And when we keep talking about this idea of oneness, and then we judge ourselves for feeling separate or distant or annoyed with another. And so when we try to transcend, we get that sense of my direction is to the goal of oneness. Because it seems when we speak of these different terms, body, mind, spirit, we're separating them out as if they're separate entities. but that too is all one. We're only separating it out to understand it more deeply. And like water, so spirit, body, and mind can be like the water in the many forms that water can take. We've done this many times in classes to demonstrate the qualities of water. It can be hard like ice. It can take that form. It can be fluid like water itself. It can become vaporous, steam. It's all the same. It's all water. So no matter what is happening to us, it's happening through us and as us, as it is everyone. So at different degrees, as I speak in a minute about Maslow's hierarchy of transcendence, is the very peak of our experience. And when we're relating to each other, if we look at the hierarchy of Maslow's ideas, every one of us is, we slip in and out of that tier, of that pyramid. We rise and we fall, and we're just always growing. So, and then when we're relating to somebody, they could be way up here and you're down here, or vice versa. And we're trying to make sense of things to each other. But that's the idea of realizing, where am I in this hierarchy? Where am I coming from? Am I putting love first? Am I putting the presence first? So Earnest Holmes says in the 365 Days of Science of Mind, feeling and thinking and sensing this allness, this is what we're talking about. We enter the conscious communion with it. Soon as we start to sense it, we become in communion with it. And in some subtle way, we do not understand, its essence flows out into our acts and spilling itself in and through everything we do, and bringing to bear upon the problems of life an intelligence greater than the human and a power that is transcendent. Now, to me, that is very refreshing, and I feel like if anybody wanted to blame me, it's not my fault, God's fault. God did it because I'm practicing the presence here. And we can realize, where do I want to look at this from? So in essence, we don't always see things as they are, not really. We're seeing things as our conditioned mind is revealing them to us. Think about that. There are times to see beyond. There are times that we are invited to transcend. And those times, I know we all know it. It's when our heart constricts. It's when that space inside of us suddenly has snapped shut. That's a call. That's a call to transcend. We're not seeing what's going on today ever before. We've never lived through these times. We have not. Now, at the beginning, we were all fresh meat for this COVID, right? We were just like, I don't know what to do. Nobody knew what to do. There was a oneness there. There was a oneness consciousness across the globe. What do we do now? What do we do? And a lot of the information was to self-protect. So when we turn back and look at, okay, I'm speaking of the unity of oneness here, and there's challenges to my thinking today. When I look back on what stressed us 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and compare it to the annoyances of today, we might be mumbling, what the heck? What the heck is going on here? We probably realize now that 10 years ago, we were living in the best of times, right? I mean, maybe we had some issues that we were working through, but nothing seems to penetrate our heart as much as these experiences of the last couple years. So, and I'm talking across the board, not just COVID, our beautiful planet, the humanitarian needs. It just, the broad stroke, we have never had these times before. Yes, history often repeats itself. There's been falls of civilizations before, but we're the ones living in these times, and we have evolved to face these challenges. I know we have. We will find our way through. We will evolve, and we will transcend, and we are. And we will include all the lessons along the way. So I ask you, to honestly assess some of the hard lines. Now, this might be a little touchy to some of you, but look at some of the hard lines that you've been taking lately for or against something. Just ask yourself, no one else is listening except your own self. Is it for the greater good of all? These are pivotal days. So if your hard line is for the greater good of all, then conflict should fall away. Separation should fall away. So never having been in these conditions before, we're using the tools and the reasons. Sometimes we fall back on past experiences. It's the way we're wired in our neurons. We fall back to try to find some common thread. How did I get out of this before? You didn't. You'd never experienced it before. This is new. This is all new. So what we're doing today, we might be needing to heed the call to transcend even the old patterns that we find ourselves in. Something very, very powerful and exciting is trying to evolve on our planet and in humanity. When I look back at the prophecies of the indigenous people, and they tell us these times are here. When you look at Scripture, these times are here. And are we prepared? Are we ready? Or are we stubbornly digging in our heels and basing our reactions to what is on past values and not really looking really deep into what is? And we might miss that critical mass, that critical moment of transcendence. So oftentimes when you feel that constriction, we are seeing things, judging things, experiencing things from how our minds have reacted to what we're experienced, and we try to relate it. Likewise, we're finding support, or we find someone who thinks just like us to validate, am I doing okay here? And we tend to create a tribe around that thinking. And we want to be even more determined to be right. Because none of us like that condescending look. Told you so. I told you so. None of us like that feeling. So we're here, though, to even drop that, to transcend that, to be open to what is, and to stand up for what we determined is right. And then in that knowing, and if we're taking a hard stand on something, are we blind to another way of seeing? So ask yourself, in your peaceful space, is your heart hardening in these times? Practice the presence. Practice that divine way of seeing, where the heart begins to just soften. Listen to Scripture. And ask yourself, do I need to rethink this all the way? These are the questions of truth. And I think Byron Katie really had nailed it when she said, she asks us, when we come up against something, is it true? And you can say, yeah. Is it absolutely true? Well, maybe not absolutely. And I love this part of Byron Katie's work. What would you be without that thought? What would you be? Who would you be without that thought? Everyone feels the freedom when they sense that. And the most important one that comes from the Science of Mind teaching, whenever we pray, is my prayer harming anyone at all, as I have this deep desire within me to claim this greater truth? If I speak this word in the power of my thought, knowing that as I think and as I believe I am, is it harming anyone? Is love coming first? And what would love do here? What would love do here? Do I need to drop my hardened way? That's why it gets a little bit touchy. Ken Wilber says, with every new level of complexity, both transcends the limitation of the earlier level, but also includes the less complex structure into itself. That's Ken Wilber with his headiness, but he's brilliant. Because yes, we transcend, but we also include. This invitation is just for you to soul search. What do I need to bring forward? What would be for the greater good of all? Ken Wilber goes on to say, molecules transcend, and then yet they include atoms. Tissues transcend and include molecules. Organs transcend and include tissues. Ecosystems transcend and include organisms and their environments. And it goes on and on and on. So we transcend and we include. Earnest Holmes backs that up, saying there is then no limitation outside of our own ignorance. And since we can all conceive of a greater good than we have so far experienced, we all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them. I think of Holly's beautiful song that she shared with us, to rise above. Krishnamurti, a wonderful Indian sage, says, awareness is an observation without condemnation. Awareness brings understanding because there's no condemnation or identification in silent observation. If I want to understand something, I must observe. Awareness, observe, quiet the heart, and do not criticize. He says, I must not criticize, I must not condemn. I must not pursue pleasure or avoid it as non-pleasure. There must merely be a silent observation of a fact. There is no end in view, but awareness of everything arises. Do you hear that? Do you see that? This opportunity here to take it to the mat, to take it to your spiritual practice, and to say, let me just be still and know. So the ideas to transcend, to just give a little definition behind this idea of transcendence, came from an article that was put together by several scientists, and they speak of transcendence in the sense of loss of self-consciousness. Loss of self-consciousness, of self-awareness, self-observing. It is the same kind of self-forgetfulness which comes from getting absorbed, fascinated, and when you're concentrating so deeply. In that sense, meditation or concentration on something outside your own psyche can produce a self-forgetfulness, a loss of self-consciousness, and in this particular sense, a transcendence of the ego or of the conscious self. Again, psychologist, kind of heady, but the idea, can we transcend our past? Yes, we can. Can we find a holistic approach to what's going on in these times that we're in? And let me share you, and from Maslow, he talks about that hierarchy, and transcendence is the top one. The second one down from that is self-actualization. It's all a process. So if we were to start at the bottom of his pyramid, it's physiological, then we're into safety, then we're in love, then we're in esteem, and then we're in self-actualization, and then transcendence. Now, why is that important? Because we're looking at the highest and most inclusive way of evolving our consciousness. And so if we're hesitant, if we're not really going there, the invitation is to begin again. Look again. And he had various meanings. He talks about it as being loss of being self-absorbed. That's a big one, being self-absorbed. We couldn't help it. We're all looking at ourselves in the world situations. But he says there's a transcendence of your past, your ego, your mystical experience, transcendence of pain and sickness. I'm just reading a few of these. Transcendence even of basic needs. It goes on and on all these hierarchies of what's important. And they narrowed it down to 6 narrative themes that emerge, that help us define whether we are experiencing this self-transcendence. Closure is the first one. How much past regrets do or do not define yourself in the present. Self-transcendence is associated with that greater sense of closure and less feeling like the victim. This teaching is optimal for that. The second one is an interconnectedness. How much do we or do we not feel connected with humanity as a whole? And we can use what our sense of felt sense is, our emotional reactions to all that's going on. Now, hear me. This is your personal journey. This isn't about, then you take it with what you discover in yourself and you become the spiritual warrior and activist as you so see as fit. But before you go out into the world, make sure you're looking at the interconnectedness. Another one is lifelong learning. How much life is seen as a learning experience, both in your formal education and your personal development, but that also having your learning to be a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Fixed mindsets get us in trouble with one another sometimes. And so he talks about that, the psychological resiliency of learning to continue to grow and learn with an open at the top, Earnest Holmes, open at the top experience. Another idea here of the definition of self-transcendence, secure attachment, the extent to which one describes safe and stable relationships with primary givers. There's a security associated with a positive outcome. Self-actualization, number 5, how much do we feel like we have achieved our full potential and status? And then finally, spiritual pluralism, a combination of having a personal spiritual belief system along with the acceptance that other people's spiritual beliefs are also valid, even if they're different from yours. Powerful message for us to reach beyond. So as I come into a closing here, there was more to share on this, but I want us to look at your values and your principles that you soul search yourself and realize, what must I transcend? What is separating me? That's the important message here. Our ability to transcend will enhance our ability to be more inclusive. So look at your experiences and what have separated you, has made you feel more vulnerable and surrounded by a feeling of potential takedown. And know, as you practice the presence, that you're never separated from the whole. That ignorance of right there is the root of your suffering. If you don't recognize there's nothing that can sever you from the divine love. We can feel lovable sometimes and not worthy or inadequate. We can feel those moments where we don't trust and our conditioning and all the fake news ideas out there and all of the different pigeonholes we can run through. But there is a quality of the presence that is the wholeness, the beauty, the love, the divine qualities itself, that grace. We want to make sure that any error of our thinking drops away and we're back in line with that truth. Maya Angelou says, you may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. I'll rise. Michael Beckwith, the spirit within us is so powerful it can rise even after the most devastating of circumstances. So as promised, I wanted to also share from the Neurodharma book from Dr. Hansen. So I'm going to have Judy just kind of quietly play the keys, but this is a spiritual practice for you. And the invitation is to calm the monkey mind. One of the most important things in meditation that sometimes gets bypassed is concentration. So find a word right now from whatever I've said today. Anchor anchor into that. Let it be your anchor word. Maybe it's just breath. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's transcendence. Maybe it's forgiveness, compassion. You find a word that you continually lean back on as your spiritual backbone. And you allow yourself to, every time you get distracted by a memory, by a trailing off of the mind, by another thought, come back to that, concentrate deeply on your intentional word and set that groove in place. And the first part of this is the steadiness. As you choose that attention, close your eyes and let your body relax and allow your heart to open. Please sense the awareness of a heart opening. It is the most beautiful experience. Each inhale and exhale is coaxing that heart space to open, to open. Let your body relax. Feel the presence, spaciousness, openness. Let everything pass through, and you are stable and you are centered. And from the steadiness, you move into a lovingness, that agape love that starts to transcend all things, feelings of compassion and kindness, forgiveness for what has been, what is. Feel for yourself what it's like to be cared for and loved, appreciated. Any other thoughts less than that? Rise, let them go. Let them go and come back to your intentional word. Breathe, rest in love. Begin to experience then the fullness as your heart opens to the enoughness of the moment. Let yourself feel safe, letting go of anxiety, letting go of any form of irritation, because we're rising, we're transcending, including it all, but rising as it just settles. It just settles to the base of who we are. But there is something so much more longing to bring us into what is now wholeness, into the nowness, into the allness, into the timelessness, as we breathe together. And we choose in this time to soul search. Has my way been beneficial to all beings? Has it been beneficial to myself? Have I been skillful? Have I been at peace with what happens? Have I been trying to like things too much and have my preference? Can I let that go just right now as I stay in the center of my beingness, wholeness, allness? And at the very root, as your heart drops, and I know you, this heart, this precious heart, this divinity, this pulse of who you are is calling you home. And this Metta Sutra speaks the kindness at the root of all suffering. Feel it. As you breathe again, a deeper breath, I want you to feel the expansion of the beingness of who you are and the allness of everything that is. And with a beginner's mind, with a new mind, with an innocent mind, with a courageous heart, you sit still. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings be happy at heart, omitting none, whether they are weak or strong, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born. May all beings be happy. Let no one deceive another or despise anyone anywhere, or through anger or ill will wish for another to suffer. Just as a mother would protect her child, her only child, with her own life, even so should you cultivate a boundless heart towards all beings. You cultivate this kindness towards the whole world with this boundless heart. Above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without enmity or hate. Whether standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, as long as you are aware and alert, resolved upon this mindfulness. This is the sublime abiding in the here and now. You are that right here, right now. Where your heart is taking you is the truth, is the ground of your being. And there is this good wish for all beings. Being aware of this, we close this with the beautiful blessing. May I be loving, open, and aware in this moment. If I cannot be loving, open, and aware in this moment, then may I be kind. If I cannot be kind, may I be non-judgmental. If I cannot be non-judgmental, may I not cause harm. If I cannot cause harm, may I cause the least harm possible. Take it to the degree in which your heart reaches back to you and says, "Welcome home, my beloved." Together, with this higher knowing, with this higher truth, we transcend all the suffering. And from this noble, holy point of view, we look back at humanity, we look at ourselves, engaged with humanity, engaged with suffering, engaged with our planet in every way, and we ask, what would love do here? And may I have the courage to walk my talk with love, kindness, and forgiveness. I release these words in gratitude for a community that reaches out, reaches through to find themselves. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Thank you, Judy. Thank you. Thank you.
This is a brand new song, too. It's called Timeless. It's a meditation that I've been experiencing almost every day. So this song was born about 3 months ago. Where were you before you were born? Before you knew of sight or sound? In the full awareness, just before a thought, long before your feet touch the ground. Hiding underneath every breath, in between the passing thoughts of this temporary world change and pain, for everything that's gained is lost. Awaken to the mystery before you fade away. Let the silence breathe you till nothing's left but peace. Follow the invisible thread back home. Everything you long for, you hold inside. This is all you need to know, So awaken from the dream and notice what remains. Unchanging, pure awareness. This nameless one who's free is timeless. 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 You're timeless.
I don't know where you could go today to get any greater inspiration. That was beautiful, just beautiful. All right. And now it's time for the offering, and we have first the practitioner affirmation. If you would repeat after me, gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance. For I know as I give, I do receive. Thank you. And Judy will be playing. Oh, they're going to play it? Oh, Lindy's going to play it. Okay, during the offering, I am so blessed, so please sing along.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful
how blessed we are today to be here together, to be able to sing, to be able to celebrate every moment of our lives, to hear the beautiful holiday music, timelessness. It lifts us all up so that these gifts given here today lift up the whole congregation, the whole community, and the world. We are so blessed by your gifts, by your support, and as a family together, we are a timeless unit of God's love. And so it is. Thank you, ushers. Thank you. Doesn't she just love doing that? She just loves doing that. Thank you, Sherry. So enthusiastic. All right, so we have one affirmation, and then we'll have our closing song. All right, so please repeat after me. There is only one life. That life's God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is my life now. And one more. There is only one life. Come on. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is our life now. All right, Holly, it's all yours. And thank you for being here. And check out the social hall and have a beautiful, beautiful day.
This is another new one. It's called, this one's called A Home for Heaven. And that's what you are. I am a home for heaven. I know you deep in my soul. There's infinite space for you to let the truth unfold. I'll use my mind for heaven. I welcome you deep in my soul. There's infinite space for you, where sacred thoughts unfold. I made a special seed deep in my soul, a resting place where love can feel at home. We light this room with joy and share the taste of peace as Spirit sings, connecting you and me. I'll be a voice for heaven. I hear you deep in my soul. There's infinite space for you. Let this melody unfold. I open my heart to heaven and feel you deep in my soul. There's infinite space for you to let compassion unfold. I made a special seed deep in my soul, a resting place where love can feel at home. We light this room with joy and share the taste of peace as Spirit sings, connecting you and me. 'Cause we are the sacred space where heaven lives.